Hello and welcome back. Well, our journey's taken us to some exciting places, and right now it's taken us to Mars. I'm here with Jim Brown, and your name is?
Scott Davis.
Scott Davis. Tell us a little bit about your program, what your interests are.
Well, our goal is to explore and settle Mars.
Tell us a little bit about your society and interests.
We're doing what we can to help us get to Mars. There are a number of projects that are small right now, but growing. We think we can help push NASA forward in getting us to Mars.
Is your suit indicative of what's going to go on there?
The suit is a simulation suit. It helps us understand what the issues might be when we're trying to do tests. When we're doing geology, if you're wearing bulky gloves, bulky suit, there are problems, and you want to design equipment and procedures so that people can be most productive.
Is it true that there are places on Earth where they go to test for what will be on Mars?
We only have two of those right now. One's on Devon Island, which is right next, the closest to the North Pole, and it's isolated, but we have crews that go through the same procedures, go through the pre-breathing, understand to deal with the problems. They have to deal with extreme colds, extreme temperatures, but Chris McKay and others have used it and find it very productive to help understand what it is like to do. Chris McKay is the world's expert on extremophiles, and he's used it to hunt for Arctic tundra and microbes.
Very interesting. Scott, what's your affiliation with the...
Right. I'm a member of the local chapter, the Northern California chapter of the Mars Society. I've been involved with the organization for pretty much since the organization started. I used to be in Wisconsin.
When did it start?
I think it was about 1998, 99.
About there.
Yeah. So it's been around for a while. But yeah,
is it worldwide, or local?
It's an international organization.
Is that right? And how long have you had the Mars by 2020 goal?
I had that goal pretty much from the beginning. The main things keeping us back from launching a manned mission to Mars are mostly, funding.
He whispered money in my ear. Isn't it always money?
Politics, public interest, and funding. So we're trying to do what we can to drive up private interest for funding, as well as talk to public officials to try to get political interest in this, and also to drive up public interest as well, which is one of the reasons we have a table here today.
And you have a website, obviously. What would that be if people wanted to look you up?
The Mars Society website is www.marssociety2ss.org.
Okay, very good. Anything else you'd like to add? I do have one quick question. When you have the places on Earth that you're studying, you're in the Arctic, freezing cold, you're in the desert. Why the differences?
Well, for one thing, Mars is a very cold environment, and it's also very dry. And we have, in our Arctic base, which is Devon Island in Canada, it's within the Arctic Circle. It's called a Mars analog environment because there's this crater and a very dry, there's hardly any plant life or anything up there. And NASA has used that as a Mars analog environment, and that's where we built our first simulation base. Now, we can only use that during the Arctic summer because the temperatures are so cold in the winter and travel becomes, extremely difficult. So we have a small window of opportunity to do simulations there. Now, after that, we created a base in Utah near Hanksville. And this is out in the desert. There is some vegetation around, and it gets very hot in the summer, but we have a lot larger window in which we can do operations there during the year.
That answers that question exactly. Anything you'd like to add, Jim, before you blast off?
Yeah, we're only asking for about 10% of what NASA spends to actually finish developing the technology and do missions every 2 years, missions to Mars. And the new plans, the Mars Direct plan, makes it much more economical than the old original NASA plan.
Well, very good. There you have some interesting information. And I'm Rusty King. This is Jim. Scott, we're blasting off for Mars.
Our chapter is working with, in partnership with NASA and Google and Carnegie Mellon University to provide to local grade school and high school teachers, along with curriculum, to help them educate the kids and work in the classroom with telerobotics rovers that would someday be used on Mars and on the Moon.
And this would be very inspirational to young people to actually work in concert with the professionals who are providing the equipment and starting out at ground level.
That's what we're really hoping. We're hoping to get the kids interested in science and technology and the sort of things that will be used someday in space exploration.
I'm excited right now. I feel like I'm about 10 years old. Is there a project date, maybe a deadline you're hoping to reach to start this?
We should have our first couple of rovers within the next 2 months, and we're currently working with the robotics developers at Carnegie Mellon for this. So hopefully we will have things very soon.
Hello again and welcome back. We're still in the noisy hallway where all the action is, and we're with a very famous person. This is Richard Becker, a pirate artist. Tell us a bit about yourself and your career.
Well, let's see. I've been doing pirate art for about 18 years now, and it was pretty skimpy work until Pirates of the Caribbean came out, which I had something to do with. Worked on the costumes in the first movie.
Okay, but you did a lot more than that too, I think.
With the Blu-ray version of the first movie, Curse of the Black Pearl, I did several illustrations for the special features. It was about 31 pictures. They show while they're talking about pirates and ships and things, they show my images along with shots from the movie as they explain stuff. So there's a bunch of them in there. I was really pleased about that.
And you actually were, when we walked up, you're sitting drawing something by hand. Is that how you begin your process typically, or do you use computers, some of the modern people do?
Oh, no, I don't use computers. I just draw it all by hand.
And could you show us a couple examples?
Sure. Usually what I'm doing...
This is what he was working on when he came up. It's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, so in this case, I'm doing this for another company, and then they approve it. And then what I'm doing here is I am cleaning it up, and then this will be in color and be in the book.
And how do you color it?
This one's going to be with acrylic paints.
And this is examples of your finished materials?
Yeah. Here's a bunch of things I've either worked on or did the whole thing. Actually, in this case, I did the back cover, and this was how they found me for the Pirates of the Caribbean. This was one of the only new books that was out on pirates at the time, and they bought this, and that's how they found me.
So you're a struggling artist, and you're this good. They found this. They found you through this picture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They used this on the in the first movie. You can see on the DVD. They show a bunch of things they were using in the costumes, and they show this painting really big. I didn't know they were going to show it.
That is fascinating. What was it? N.C. Wyeth who did some feels like this?
Oh yeah, N.C. Wyeth and Howard Pyle.
Yes, I haven't.
My big heroes.
I could tell this quality is that good.
Oh well.
No, I'm serious.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
In that DVD where they're showing the wall of stuff, they show a big Howard Pyle painting, and then they show mine, and I felt really honored to be in that
I bet
company.
you did. Well, to see this talent nowadays is very exciting. We've interviewed some people who had a lot of talent with the computer-generated stuff, but from pencil to paper to acrylic painting, it's fascinating. We're going to show you a few more after. We'll show you some stills of his work. So what are you working on right now? I know you showed us this one.
A graphic novel called Pirate Tales, and it'll be stories about real pirates. For it on a buccaneer called Francis Lolinet, who everybody agrees was by far the worst and bloodiest of all the pirates.
Is that right?
He was crazy, yeah. He was known for pulling people's tongues out, and he did that a lot.
I would have liked to have done that to my ex.
Yeah. So he's not a hero by any means.
No.
But he was pretty brave and pretty clever and
notorious.
And he did some pretty terrible things. But he finally got caught by some cannibals, and they did.
Is that right?
It's a great story because he got his ending.
Now wait, this is a true story?
Yeah.
That's historical?
Yes.
And now being turned into a comic?
Yes.
Okay. And you've done all this artwork?
Yes, there's 20 pages on
Oh my
his
gosh.
story in here in color. The book will be about 120 pages, and I'm just one of the artists working on it.
So, let me get this right. 120-page comic book, or it's going to be a hard book?
No, it'll be 120 pages. It'll be
Okay.
this kind of a format,
I see.
which is, of course, my book on Blackbeard. But yeah, I don't make a lot of money doing this myself, but I get hired by a lot of other companies.
Well, I bet you do.